Hello, my name's Nancy and I'm from Virtual Care. I'm a physical therapist and I'm going to talk to you about Parkinson's Gait today. This is part 2. I did part 1 a week ago and I'm going to focus again on freezing of gait. So I'm going to review a few things and go through a few slides, and then I'm going to go over some more cues and strategies that you can use to help prevent the freezing of gait episodes or to get out of them. And talk about turns as well, and then I'll demonstrate it a little bit. So freezing of gait, one thing that it's so important to get control of and work on is because it's the leading cause of falls in Parkinson's patients. This is because it's so unpredictable and it's so sudden. And what happens is Parkinson's promotes a flexed posture, which gets worse as the disease progresses. So you have a flexed posture, your weight is going forward over your toes. So as you're walking, you're kind of getting momentum forward as you're leaning forward. It propels you forward. And then all of a sudden, an episode of freezing happens and it stops you very suddenly. And then you can't move your feet. And so your body weight is still kind of going forward. So that's one reason why it's such a huge fall risk. And then also trying to get out of this position and get out of the freeze, you can be struggling to get a leg forward, and that can knock you off balance as well. So the freezing of gait are usually short, temporary episodes. So all of this contributes to a significant fear of falling. And having a fear of falling can become a big problem. If you get a fear of falling, then you might not want to get up and walk around your house, or you might not want to go out in the community and take walks. So this will decrease your mobility, and there's medical problems from that with your joints, with your muscles. Also, just emotionally and psychologically, you may become slightly depressed because of that. And also these freezing episodes can be very stressful and cause anxiety. And then that triggers them and makes the freezing of gait episodes come on easier. So it's kind of a whole circular pattern with the freezing of gait and the fear of falling. So the freezing of gait will not affect everyone that has Parkinson's. What the researchers have found is that patients with mild Parkinson's disease in the beginning of the disease, it affects about 26% of patients. As the disease progresses and becomes more advanced, that number can go up to 80%. So that's a really huge percentage of the population of Parkinson's. A big thing is to know what your triggers are. We talked about some of the triggers last time, and that can be turning, going over a threshold, going over changes in flooring. These can all trigger those freezing episodes. So freezing of gait strategies, the most important thing is never fight the freeze. In general, what you want to do, you want to stop, take a breath, calm down, and then start again. There is a stopping strategy you can try to use called the 4 S's. And that would be stop, stand tall, shift your weight, and step big. So again, the 4 S's: stop, stand tall, take a nice deep breath, calm down, shift your weight, step big. So the key is to unweighting one foot and making the next step big. And we talked about the side-to-side weight shifts last time, and we practiced that. So that's very important. So you can unweight one foot. So I'm going to go over some cueing strategies I didn't get to last time. I'm going to start with visual cues. And these can be external or internal. So what you can do is you can use tape and place lines of tape in your house, like down the hall, or you can place it over the threshold coming in from outside. Any places you have problems with freezing. You can also, and these lines, you can either step on or you can step over, whatever works better for you. That'll help you take bigger steps. You can also use just X's of tape and place X's down for you to step on. And this works well, especially if you're in a small confined space, like maybe a closet with some clothes, and you have to make a tight turn. You put those S's down, the X's, excuse me, and you can step on those X's and make that tight turn. Also, objects. You can step over objects. You can maybe use a cane or some other small object to practice stepping over. You want to be careful about this because you don't want to end up tripping and causing yourself to fall. So you might want to do this next to a counter or something to hold on to if you need extra balance. Another thing is just using your visual system and looking forward where you're going. So if you're coming in the front door, look down the hall or look at the wall on the other side of the room. So you're not totally focusing on that threshold and then walk through. They also make fancier assistive devices these days, and those are canes and walkers. They have lasers on them now that give you something to see, and you can try kind of kicking it or stepping out towards it, and that'll help you take bigger steps. And then internally is just imagining objects or imagining lines of tape. And that can be very powerful to just use your mind and imagine. Now the auditory cues, these are very effective because gait is done in a rhythmic pattern. So again, there's external and internal cues. The external would be music. So you want to get music that has a good beat for a stepping pattern. You can sing something with a good beat. You can also count out loud. Or you can use a metronome. Now not everybody has a metronome, so there are some free apps that you can download these days onto your computer or your smartphone that you can use, and they have different speeds. You can find a good speed for you. I'm also told that some of them emit a light, and so that also gives you an extra visual cue as well. And then internally, again, just thinking about the music and a good beat, or singing the song to yourself and a good beat. And this might help a lot maybe if you're with other people. Maybe you don't want them to hear what you're doing. So that can be very effective. Now I'm going to talk to you about turning. So the big thing with turning is you want to keep your body and feet moving in the same direction. And that's especially important if you're using a walker, or if you're going to sit down, or if you're from standing in a static position and you need to turn and reach your towels, or turn and reach and get something. So just describing some of the turns you can use, and I will show these in a few minutes. There's a right, left, left turn, or similar is a clock turn. And those you can use in smaller spaces. There's also a U-turn where you actually kind of do a U-turn like you do in your car, and that would be used in a more open space. A marching turn can be used in a really tight space. Again, maybe in the closet where you have your clothes around you and you have to make a real small turn. So now I'm going to unshare my screen. And get this, and then I'm going to show you some of these. Okay, so I'm going to back up. No, I see myself. Okay, so I'm going to back up and I'm going to show you, start with the right, right, left, left turn. So I'm going to pretend that this is my sink. Hopefully you can see all of me, especially my feet. So if I'm standing at my sink in a static position and I need to turn to the right side to get my towels, instead of trying to twist, and then I have my body going in one direction, my feet going in the other, I'm going to step right, right. So turning to the right, keeping my body over my feet, I'm going to step right, right, and then I can use my towels or whatever I'm going to do there. And then back, left, left. Now, if you have any room at home and you want to follow along, then please do. So again, we're going to try that again. Going to the right to my towels, stepping right, right, using your towels, and then back, left, left. And you can also do the clock turn, which is very similar. You're just going to imagine a clock. So in front of me is 12 noon. And to the right would be 3 o'clock, and to the left would be 9 o'clock. So again, if I want to use my towels or something that's right on my right side, I'm going to think that this is 12 o'clock ahead, this is 9, so I'm going to step to 9 o'clock. And then when I'm done, I can step back, step to 12 o'clock. Okay, so I'm imagining this is 12 o'clock. This is 3 o'clock, and I'm going to step to 3 o'clock, and then when I'm done, step back to 12 o'clock. Okay, if you have a larger space, then you can do a U-turn. So if you're walking and you're trying to take your big steps, you want to continue those big steps. You don't want to try to pivot on your feet, or you don't want to try to rotate and get your feet and body moving in a different direction. So you want to take big steps and you just want to go in a semicircle like you would do a U-turn. So big steps all the way. Now, if you had a walker, that would be the same thing. You don't want to pick the walker up and turn it. You want it to just come with you and stay inside the walker. So again, you're going to work on your big steps, shifting your weight, and then do a semicircle, U-turn, and back. Okay, the marching in place I mentioned, and you can use this in a very small confined space. And you could just start warming up, doing some marching. Let's say I'm going to turn to my right side this time. So warm up and then start stepping around using the marching steps. Okay, so we can try that again. So a small confined space, try marching back and forth, get kind of warmed up, and then turn, keep stepping and marching as you turn. Another thing is going to sit down. So if I have my chair here, what you want to do, you don't want to come up to the chair and then try to do a really tight turn or try reaching. That's going to put you at a huge fall risk. You want to just continue taking those big steps. So you can kind of aim for the outer part of the chair so you have room to step, and then keep stepping and shifting your weight all the way around till you get turned around, and then sit down. And then if you have a walker, it would be the same thing. So with the walker, again, taking big steps, shifting your weight, stepping, keep turning, shift your weight, step, and then back. Okay, so those are the general turning strategies. So what you need to do, if you find out what your triggers are, then you can target those areas and you can experiment with some of these cues and strategies that I went through today and last week. And everyone's different. So one thing might work for one person and another person might be better with another type of strategy. So you just have to experiment and see what works for you. So I hope this was helpful.